Welcome to the Stretch to Go podcast. My name is Ian Ray, your host, and today I have Casey Kostrzewa. Help me out, bro.
That's pretty close, Kostrzewa.
Kostrzewa. He's the founder of Fascia Sticks. You might have seen his product basically from Musical Breathwork. Brooke McPoyle, she did show and give a shout out to Fascia Sticks. I had a colleague of mine, Joe Watson, kind of mentioned about Fascia Stick, how it works. But basically, Casey is a former baseball pitcher in the independent league, and he also is a performance coach right now. He's based out of Knoxville, Tennessee. So, Casey, welcome to the Stretch to Go podcast.
Thank you for having me on. I'm excited to be here.
So, man, let's dive in. Give us how Fascia Sticks was born. What was it? How did you get into fascia, first of all? Because you're a baseball pitcher, you're an athlete, but like, was fascia ever a thing that people talked about?
So, long story short, I was a outfielder my first 2 years of college, and my second year, I transferred to a junior college. If you know, you only get 2 years out of junior college, and then once those 2 years are up, you got to go to a 4 year. So, my sophomore year, I was like 12 games in, tore my hamstring, and then I broke my hamate bone. And because of like complications and stuff, I tried coming back too early. I was too many games to medically redshirt. I couldn't hit anymore. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna start pitching. So I pitched in the fall, and then I came across 108 Performance, Eugene Bleecker. He was based out of Southern California, and so I took a whole gap year. Basically, you know, I hadn't pitched since my sophomore year of high school, so I took a whole gap year and trained to be a pitcher, and I eventually got essentially a full ride scholarship at an NAI school as a pitcher after that. But Eugene has done a lot of research. He's put out a book called Old School versus New School that he was actually writing while I was taking my gap year out there. And he's really the one who put me on to fascia and the importance in the body, especially baseball players, obviously, you know, any athlete, basketball players and stuff like that. And really kind of opened my mind to this thing that, because, you know, in my personal experience, I literally thought it was just all like muscle. The stronger I can get, the better it's going to be. But I never really understood, or there's not really textbooks really. Even my college, like I was in basically exercise science / psychology, and like there wasn't really too much on fascia. So I'd always like talk to my teacher, be like, yeah, what's a fascia? You know, like give me some more information about that. Like, you know, raising my hand, like, oh, I think that's like, you know, more fascia related than muscular, you know what I mean? Um, so eventually, so I was in college. The story goes, I was in college. Obviously, I had two roommates. They were both on the baseball team with me. And I came across, well, I've heard of it before because I'm originally from Colorado. I've heard it before from like rock climbers that they use pencil erasers to floss in between their hands. Because, you know, obviously I did it for a little bit, but like you're gripping there and like your hands get super tired. And, you know, that's what they say about, you know, rock climbers is their insane grip strength.
Yeah.
So me and my buddy stumbled across it. One of my buddies was a second baseman and he had arm pain for 3 weeks. Tried everything, tried scraping, tried cupping, tried ultrasound. And as a second baseman, you're really not making like a very far throw. And like he couldn't even like, you know, really throw it. It's like something, you know, was pretty off. But it's insane because we tried it that night after we saw it, and he woke up the next day and was like, yo, my arm like feels like brand new. I was like, dang, this is insane. And it was like almost like kind of like a, you know, whatever you believe in, but it's kind of like a sign from God. Cause I was like, man, I gotta like create something. And we had this Nerf ball, and I was like, man, like I love doing this and flossing my hands, but there's like the pencil tip was like, I can't really like push into it. So we ended up putting like a Nerf ball on the top of it, which is why, here, I'll show you, which is why that big end is on the top of it. And we were like releasing our like neck and jaw and stuff like that, and just seeing the benefits of releasing the small areas of your body, which is, you know, fascia is interconnected throughout your entire body. So by releasing, your hands, it can release tension in your wrist, your arm, your neck, it can really shoulder, and same thing goes with the feet too. So I ended up I was like, man, I got to make this happen. So I'm going over to all the different like manufacturing places around town. Like, yo, I got to see if I can make some prototypes of this idea I got. And I end up searching my school website, and obviously I was a health or exercise science major, but I found out that our graphic graphic design professor, they actually had a 3D printer at the school. So I was like,
No way.
one day I went into his office and I was like, yo, this is my idea. I want to try to make some prototypes. And he's like, I don't know you, but let's do it. So we came up with 3 different prototypes later that week, and kind of decided on the best one, because obviously the pencil, it works, but the eraser's kind of like itches on your skin. It'll break pretty often. So we were trying to make a, permanent solution for what we kind of stumbled upon.
Hmm.
So we ended up making 3 prototypes, ended up deciding on one. And then I then made a bunch of fascia sticks after we got the prototype, like a big order, in November of 2021, I believe. No, it might have been 2022. Anyways, so then, I'm handing out to my baseball team, but I actually sold more to our esports team than I did our baseball team.
The gaming
Um,
team, the people who gaming, you mean?
yeah, so like in between, whether it's deaths or in between games, they'd be, releasing their hands, and I gotta tell my other esports teammates like about this. So the word kind of spread in that sense. And actually now, so one of my teammates in high school, he's like one of the top 20, top 10 MLB The Show players. So I'm actually like, he's one of my affiliates, and like I think one time he was like, "Oh, I'm kind of in a slump. I lost 2 in a row." And then he massaged his hand with the fascia sticks and won the next 3 games. So it's been some pretty incredible results, not only just with pain relief, with that kind of stuff, but also with gamers, everyday people. My grandma had trigger finger, and that actually, by releasing her hand, it kind of solved that trigger finger. But there's just so many people that are, on their computers all day,
Hmm.
their necks forward. So the small end, I'll give you a quick rundown. So the small end is mainly for the hands and the feet. I designed it to get in between the hands and the feet. So essentially you're kind of flossing in between and kind of just going back and forth. And if you feel an area of tension, you kind of stick at that. You want to
Okay.
go both sides as well. And then the bigger end is for the neck, getting like the vagus nerve, lymphatic flow under the jaw, because a lot of people, when they sleep, they clench their jaw. So a lot of times that can cause, it'll be perfect for you. A lot of times it'll cause like headaches and stuff in that sense. Like I said, everything's connected.
Hmm.
Sinus flow. So I first came up with it with the plastic one, but then like a year later, I was like, I think I can make the metal one. And what's nice about it is you can freeze it for 30 minutes or overnight, and it's kind of like a cold therapy. So I actually like freeze 2 of them in my freezer. Then I
Hmm.
wake up, and the first thing I do is like go on my
Wait.
neck just to kind of like give me a little wake up. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, that's so smart. I mean, especially like a plastic one, like yeah, it can't hold that coldness. And I guess this is metal. Is that correct, or is it what type
Yeah.
of material?
Stainless steel.
Stainless steel. Okay, even better. So I mean, with that, I mean, definitely won't break as easily as a plastic one. And I mean, I know it's portable. I mean, how big is this fascia sticks? I mean, if you were to put it next to your hand, okay,
About
yeah,
the size of a hand.
okay, cool. So definitely portable for people, and it's lightweight. I mean, of course you can, and I know you have a keychain that kind of attaches it so people don't lose it because it's so small.
Yeah, so that you said it's portable. It's very portable now that I designed this keychain holder, so you can always kind of take it with you, and
Hmm.
it won't come off, or we won't lose it. So you can always have your fascia stick with you.
Yeah.
But even a further backstory too, part of the reason I designed it was because my junior year, I had a little bit of radial nerve pain, and I never dealt with nerve pain in my life. It's just like the weirdest, pain where it's like not really a pain, but you like feel like you're not moving as well as you could. And so I was always like trying to like release where the radial nerve is, and I could never like release it. And so that's kind of like part of the reason also why I was so interested in, kind of making it happen, was to kind of help other people who were dealing with pain like that, or something that they couldn't like release for themselves. And there's something about like it not being your finger or your hand that it actually like helps you release it better.
So with this fascia sticks, there's I think on your website it said it's a foam roller for the small areas of your body. Paints the picture perfectly. I mean, it is. Even for people who probably like, because I have like heated scrapers and I have gua sha, I have like cupping, all that stuff. Like, yeah, those things don't get those intricate small details. Like you were saying about like since you saying the fascia is interconnected, it's everywhere, it covers your muscles and bones. So definitely those parts I feel like does get neglected. I know when I used to get headaches, I used to kind of do some acupressures on my in between my fingers. That'll help, but I can only do so much. But I think with that stick, I mean, that'll definitely get deep, penetrates. Plus, it's probably much smoother. Plus, you have a topical, correct? The Coachella Valley topical that can help kind of glide. It's easier.
Yeah, I just
Mm-hmm.
actually this happened about a month ago. They hit me up, and they designed a topical cream, and they designed it perfectly for the fascia stick, so it can, I mean, obviously the fascia stick is smooth, but this makes
Mm-hmm.
it even smoother. And like the results from, because it has CBD in it, the results from it and other obviously things, but the results from it, from people around me, myself, have been, I mean, incredible. So not only combined with the topical cream, but the fascia stick too, um, has, had awesome results so far.
So for you, how did you start, I guess, when you were beginning, how did you start marketing this product? Like, what was it like trying to get your product out? Because I'm sure like people are like, well, I don't want to pay like $30 for a stick. But like, what were you doing to gain some headstream into getting this out into the public?
Yeah, so I think it was tough marketing at first because no one's like really ever heard of like releasing their hands or using a pencil eraser in between their hands or their feet. So I think definitely the biggest thing for me is word of mouth and people telling their friends. So like I said about the esports team, but also you know, because of my work, I'm connected with a bunch of, baseball players, stuff like that. So like, they would use it, tell their buddy in the clubhouse, and eventually now like the physical therapist for the team wants to buy, 10 of them. Yeah, I think, but one of the biggest things that I kind of learned, obviously you're a fascial stretch guy, but one of the fascial stretch guys in town, I was picking his brain.
Uh-huh.
Obviously he's telling me about fascia and, stuff that, I knew a decent amount about it, but I didn't, he had a great knowledge base. And I showed him the fascia stick, and he's like, and he was a strength coach for University of Nebraska, for Tennessee. And he's like, oh, well, Michael Jordan used to release his feet before every game. And like, I don't know if you ever heard the story of Michael Jordan with his Jordan 1s, but, or if you
Uh-uh.
ever tried to play basketball in Jordan 1s, like, they're not the most comfortable shoes. So like
Uh-uh.
him being able to release his feet before every game, because they would have a different pair of shoes every game, because they were kind of like not sketchy, but like they weren't, designed 100%. If you've ever seen that Nike documentary, it kind of just, they weren't really the industry leaders at the time. So that was like one of the craziest things for me. And obviously trying it with the feet, first time I ever did it, I felt like the blood rush up my legs. I had like a little like hip pain, and I like
Uh-huh.
literally felt it like dissolve. And I felt like I was moving different. And then actually a couple months ago, I was like, I'm gonna do a couple like tests.
Uh-huh.
And so I've been trying to train to dunk. I've never dunked before, so I've been trying to
I
train
see.
to dunk the
Yeah.
last couple months. And so I have this thing. It's called the OVR Performance. It measures your vertical jump. So I did, three, you know, um, three jumps, right? Got the
Mm-hmm.
average of those, and then I fascia sticked my feet for 2 minutes. And this is multiple times. I fascia sticked my feet for 2 minutes, and then I did three jumps after. and the average increase in vertical jump was an inch and a half. So like there's definitely something going on um, that actually helps you perform better and move better. Not only
Yeah.
just how you feel, but like it actually helps with performance too. And I would do that before every game is fascia stick my hands and my feet before every start. So
That's crazy. 2 minutes of work for that inch. Like, I mean, an inch is an inch, man. Whether if you foam roll and stuff, but that's pretty impressive.
especially for me, I only got like a 23-inch standing vertical. So if it can be a 25, that's pretty big.
So who's his strength coach? Because I think I might have heard the name because Joe Watson probably has gone to get treatment. What's his name again?
Trace Pate.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I heard he's one of the
He's the
OG
man.
FST people in Tennessee, I think, according to Joe.
100%.
So
Yeah.
yeah, man, that's awesome. Yeah. And I guess another reason why I was so intrigued with this fascia stick because, like you were saying, like since I do fascia stretch, I work through limbs, but then there's these missing parts that I feel like this could be a game changer, especially working on the hands and feet. Because I always see the body head to toe, kinetic chain wise. Like I always look at the feet first, whether if it's stiff ankles, that's going to lead up to the knee, to the hip, to the back. And so like maybe if I was to try doing this with some clients who have horrible flexion, plantar flexion, I mean, it might help release it. I don't know, but I'm really interested to see because this could help them. Like I said, release some of that tension that's probably built that I can't do as a manual worker. But like I said, this product could probably help people feel like you're feeling, like more blood flow coming through, more release of tension because we're always on our feet, And so I feel like, yeah, you can foam roll, you can roll on the balls on the bottom of the feet, but also the top of the feet, I think we kind of overlook as well. But I mean, yeah, I'm just really curious, man, how this is going to help me with my practice and of course my clients. Great product, bro.
Yeah. What I've heard from other FST or physical therapists is,
Uh,
like you said, it kind of not only are they able to release other things and get into the feet and the hands. You can get into the feet with a lacrosse ball. I like a lacrosse ball, but this actually gets like in between the bones of the feet and the hands. And what they've also told me is that it's almost like giving them homework. So like they can go at home and do it themselves for troubled areas.
mhm.
And obviously, I don't know how many times your clients come to get treated, but it's probably maybe 2-3 times a week. But this gives them that like in between to help them feel good and move better too.
Yeah. And now you're talking about the vagus nerve and the lymphatic because everything's connected with the fascia. That's interesting how this tool can help also with that releasing because, like I said, I was on another podcast and we're talking about how like the neck and the shoulders are all connected. I mean, especially as a baseball player, I'm treating a baseball player right now. He's 13. Rotator cuff injuries coming in with always elbow something. Because he's a pitcher. So I've always looked at, is it the neck? Is it the shoulders? Is it rotator cuff? Where? So like even this type of thing can help people who are constantly overusing their muscles and overusing that same repetitive motion. That could definitely help them, especially doing some kind of self work, self myofascial work in between recovery. Since most people are on the go, especially if he's on a travel baseball team, or if you're a professional, like you want to be able to stay loose and be mobile and recover quick. And so I feel like this could help a lot of people instead of putting on an ice pack all the time, or even like you're saying, warming up. I mean, what a way to just wake up and just kind of floss, So tell me, I know you have a couple of videos on your social, on your website. How do most people, I guess, when they're beginning to use it, like, do you kind of give them like this, just kind of go until you feel that tension go away? Or is there a way to kind of go at it from beginner to medium to like expert level of doing, fascia sticks, or is it just by experience? You tell me, like, how do you typically tell people like how to use a stick?
Yeah, so essentially, first thing I show them is being able to use it in between their hands and floss. Oops, let me see what I show. And flossing in between your hands. So you want to start the webbing and kind of like
Mm-hmm.
slowly work your way down. And if you find a spot of tension, you kind of want to stick at that spot. But you want to go through every finger in the hand, in between every finger, and also the other side too. Same thing with the feet. But what's nice about it too is like it's not like, okay, you can only do this for, 2 minutes a day, like a cupping or anything like that. Like you can kind of do it as much as you want, really. But then yeah, I have a bunch of different releases that I've learned from other people as well, of like let's say your radial nerve, releasing your radial nerve, or a pin and stretch, and like you were talking about with the neck and stuff like that. For some reason, I've always been intrigued with the lymphatic system, like even in high school.
Mm-hmm.
And even with my radial nerve injury, I actually kind of like figured out that it was coming from my neck. Like it felt like it was in my elbow, but it was actually coming from my neck. So yeah, I have all my releases on my Instagram, on my website.
Is that the Big Five release? The daily release?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I typically suggest the Big Five daily release because that's not only getting your hands, but
And
it's
what are
also
they again? Just so the
so
audience to know.
yeah, for sure. It's the hands, it's the feet, so going in between each bone of the feet. It's the collarbone, and then it's the neck or the vagus nerve, and then the jaw. That's a big five. And obviously, each person is depending different. Like, for me right now, my bicep tendon is kind of like my shoulder's still from pitching, 5 years. My shoulder's not like quite 100%.
Uh-huh.
So I can feel my bicep tendon kind of like really clunky. So in the front, doing it in the front and almost kind of like external internal with my hand actually has helped release it. And I don't know if you know Coach Ferber, but he's a big social media account for baseball.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually met up with him ABCA 3 years ago, 2 years ago, and I gave him a fascia stick. And then he had one of his he tells the story better than what I would, but he had a friend that was with a MLB organization. Like dug in deep in his like the front of his shoulder and his shoulder, and I guess he had like some sort of pain that like his shoulder didn't feel good. And right after that guy showed him it and he did it to him, he was like, man, I feel so much better. So I've been working with him a little bit, staying in touch with him, but it's helped he's tried with some of his players, and he actually had one player that had like a partially torn UCL.
Mm-hmm.
And he was saying the big two things that he did to make him feel better was, releasing his arm, releasing his fingers, and then using a rice bucket. And he's like, pain pretty much went away. So, yeah, he's awesome.
So fascia stick, the name fascia stick is obvious because you're working with fascia. It's a stick. Is that correct? That's simple.
Yeah, so it wasn't like I wouldn't say it's like 100% like actually getting into your fascia in a sense,
Mm-hmm.
but like because of the interconnectedness of the fascia throughout the body, because obviously fascia is like really tough, really rough. So I wouldn't say like a small tool is like changing your fascia in a sense, but I kind of came across it just because of my knowledge base with Eugene Bleecker. And honestly, there just wasn't a better word for it. So the name fascia stick was kind of like a precursor. I was like, I don't know if that's the best name I could think of. And then it just kind of stuck. So, but I think it describes it perfectly.
Yeah. How did Brooke McPoyle come across with musical breathwork? How did she come across your product? Is it something that you
Oh,
reached out to her?
she's awesome, man. I started following her just because of the content she was putting out on fascia.
Yeah.
And then I can't remember if I reached out or she reached out, but we kind of developed, a relationship where, I sent her a bunch, and then she was seeing the benefits of it for her and her clients, because she was a former golfer as well. But, her fascia flow course and everything is awesome. She uses that as part of one of her fascia flow courses. So that relationship has been awesome because she has so much knowledge and so much, she really, she wants to teach people about fascia. And, that's something that they've really only been able to do studies on for the last, I don't know, 10 years, less than that, in
Mm-hmm.
vivo. So yeah, she's awesome.
Yeah, I know. I had her on my podcast, and like I was just amazed with a lot of things that she was breaking down, just making it simple for people to understand. using props, especially that sea sponge that she uses, just of how the different type of fascia, densification of fascia, how fascia is loose, how I mean, she has so much knowledge that I think it's pretty cool. And of course, with her, musical breath work, the name of it just based off of, her affinity to music and just breath work. I think it's just so interesting. For you, where do you see your brand, your company going in the next 5-10 years? Like, what are you hoping to see happen?
I mean, right now I'm trying to get it into more people's hands so they can actually see the benefits. Like I said, there's not too many people that really even have known about releasing your hands. So I think once people actually get it in their hands and try it, I think they'll, see the benefits and tell their friends. And really, that's what I was saying earlier, is it's really spread a lot by word of mouth. I've done, marketing with my personal Instagram page, but
Mm-hmm.
I definitely think because right now I'm in 5 facilities and 6 physical therapy places.
Okay.
So I think I think almost every athlete is going to actually have it, in their bag, like people have a lacrosse ball or other massage tools. Like I said, it's not everything, but it's just another tool in your bag that, can help you move better and perform better.
Yeah. How have you pitched to these physical therapist offices as far as like, how this fascia sticks have worked? I mean, what are you telling them and how are they like receiving it?
Honestly, a lot of it, like I said, has come from word of mouth, whether it's you said Joe Watson telling you about it
Mm-hmm.
or them trying it out, ordering it, and then being like, wow, these are awesome for my clients. Like, I want to order more. So, like I said, they can have homework essentially. So it's really like, I haven't really pitched it to too many people. It's kind of been like they've seen the benefits and wanted to help their clients out and wanted more of them, for their clients.
Um, for you as well, what has been the most challenging when you're first starting? Is it just kind of getting exposure? I mean, there's not much competition, is there, for like what you do with this product, or is there besides a pencil?
Yeah, I mean, I actually think I want people to try a pencil eraser first and
Mm-hmm.
actually see the benefits for it because, like I said, it helped me and my roommate with his arm pain. But you'll kind of find out quickly that it's not like a permanent solution. So, like I said, it's a permanent solution and like I say, it's the only massage tool for the hands, feet, jaw, and neck is what I like to say. Like you said, it's a pencil eraser or a foam roller for the small parts of your body. But yeah, I think people will eventually see the benefits of it. And, I'm not just trying to, you know, really sell a product. I think what's awesome recently has been like the community it's created too.
Mm.
Like, obviously, I'm a social media manager for my company, but I never really expected it to grow as fast as it has recently. I mean, 2,500 followers for, almost a late start for Instagram in a sense with the algorithm is honestly like pretty incredible. So, yeah, just trying to grow the community and get people to know more about fashion and, you know, develop themselves as athletes and become the best version of themselves.
So with fascia, I guess for you, how do you have to explain to people what fascia is typically, or what this product and what it does, or I mean, do you bring up anything about fascia and the role it plays for their overall well-being or performance?
Yeah, typically it's actually easy for me because, like I said, in the facility that I work at, one of my performance, they kind of get to know fascia pretty quickly from Eugene or Will or me, and they kind of have a basic understanding before I even have to, like, be like, yo, try this fascia stick. So, I mean, yeah, I definitely talked to him a bunch about fascia, but with a lot of our training, we do a lot of I think what separates us from other facilities and why we have
Mm-hmm.
such great results in baseball, like for a long time, it was like all about like strength training. Like I said, like I even was along the same board, but I didn't really understand how to like move better and improve my movement. And a lot of the stuff we do is actually fascia training with water bags. So we have different programming and we've done studies back in teen we were probably one of the first places in America to use water bags as a training method. Not only do we do like if you look at my Instagram, I have a bunch of like vertical athletic kind of workouts that I do. But it's also really training it's really training rotation and improving your movement, because I mean essentially that's what happens on the field is the best players are able to rotate, stop, and stabilize better than everyone else. Like if you look at the most elite players, they're the best rotators. So that's really what we're trying to not only train, but prepare the body for the task that's going to happen.
Yeah, I think that thoracic rotation kind of gets lost once your hips get stuck or your low back gets tightened up. So I feel like it's definitely important, especially if you're an athlete who uses that type of movement, striking, throwing, lifting things. So I think that's one key that I've always seen people too is like the rotational aspect. Our body moves, three-dimensional more rather than just a linear planar, so we're not like robots. It's definitely a key ingredient for people to have maximum performance. So I love that. I love that you guys are using that because I work out of Parisi training, and they use a
Oh, so
lot of
you're
that
in
type.
touch.
Yeah. So they use a lot of those water bags, definitely, and of course Bill Parisi is huge on like fascia and sports performance. So it's cool to see that, and I guess in the role of sports and fascia kind of combining now and seeing the importance of how it plays a role in becoming a better athlete, because I think that's something that even Bill Parisi with his many seminars and books that he's written is like fascia is a critical role for athletic performance. Without that, you cannot have power, you cannot have velocity, you cannot have movement without fascia, because that's what kind of propels everything. So it's cool, man. I love that you guys have that water bags and you guys are on the leader and have studies.
Yeah, it's a small world because Eugene actually he talks with Bill every so often, but we're in touch with Bill, and like I said, everything's rotation. Like even sprinters, like if you look
Mm-hmm.
at Usain Bolt, people are like, his form isn't that good, but he almost is like one of the better rotators than kind of anyone else. But like that's what I feel like is lost in a lot of training nowadays is like no one actually, and I'm starting to see it more on Instagram and stuff from, even like a lunge, like people saying, okay, instead of just going straight up and down, like almost kind of rotate into it because everything is rotating. Like when you walk, you're rotating. No one teaches you how to go opposite arm, opposite leg. Like that's just in our bodies. And the studies that they've done on like cats and stuff where their brainstem was removed and they're still going opposite arm, opposite leg. Um, Everything is rotation. And that's what's kind of lost nowadays. But it comes from the fascia and the fascia chains that are cross body connected. Like even like Barry Bonds, he would always talk about like the X, right? And he'd always talk about the X, but he didn't understand. Obviously, they didn't have the studies yet, but he didn't understand like the X of how your right shoulder is connected all the way to your big toe on your left foot. So all that kind of stuff has kind of been in sports, but it hasn't really like obviously they didn't have the studies in vivo until 2014.
Yeah, that's cool. I did not know that about Barry Bonds and the X thing. Yeah, definitely. I think it's great for people to kind of look into it, especially younger athletes who are, I guess, whether if they're into multiple sports or one specific sport, they should look into that because mobility is a huge thing and aspect. So, I think I always kind of preach people who are coming to see me is that, what I do as a fascia stretch therapist is more the flexibility part, but we also have to work on the stability and the mobility for overall, health and wellness performance. I think it's important to incorporate everything because I can stretch the person all I want, but you need to have the different aspects of, like I said, those two other things, stability and mobility, to have greater output, greater measures of performance for them. Give me a rundown. With most people who are coming to your Fascia Sticks, who are they? What are they looking for? Do you have any kind of like a study or like a demographic the type of people that come in to, purchase your products or like looking to the Fascia Sticks?
Yeah, so obviously I first invented it, for baseball players, and then it kind of went to gamers, which is why I kind of opened my mind of like, maybe this isn't just for athletes and helping them move better. Obviously, basketball players, I'm starting to work with a lot of soccer players are starting to use it, which is, obviously they got cleats, they're on their feet, their ability to move better is of utmost importance, especially when you got, 2, 3 games in a week. So not only the athletes, but like I said, the demographic is starting to get bigger, even like CrossFit. And I actually just had a bodybuilder. She tried it out for the first time, and I actually got it on camera. But she tried it out for the first time and was like, because they're lifting weights, they're holding the weights. It's creating a lot of tension in their hands and their neck because they're lifting such heavy weights. So not only with CrossFit, bodybuilding, but also the everyday person, like I said, of helping my grandma. And I think like a lot of the people that I've given it to, like
Hmm.
their wife or spouse, has actually used it and they're like, man, my wife loves it and she's on a computer all day and it helps with their neck pain, it helps with their hands, helps with their carpal tunnel, that kind of stuff because people are hunched over using their hands all day in kind of a unnatural way than what we were initially designed to do. And I mean, there's so many people that are on their feet all day. And I have much respect for like uh manual workers. Like I did essentially like sewage piping for a summer and like jackhammers and all that kind of stuff, manual labor really puts a toll on your body. So obviously I designed it for athletes and it's helped athletes move better, perform better, feel better. But really I think what's starting to grow is, the everyday person or, more even in the gym bodybuilding side, especially since that's kind of taken off to the everyday person as well.
That's awesome, man. Thanks, Casey. Definitely for those who are looking to, I guess, learn more about what you're doing, even purchasing this product, where can they find you? Where can they go to find out more about what you're doing?
Yeah, so you can go to my website, fasciasticks.com. You can also go to my Instagram or TikTok, which is at Fascia Sticks. But yeah, I love being on here. It was awesome. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, man, no problem. I'll definitely put the links over there for those who are looking to, I guess, look more into different type of products. I will put this on my website, social page. And like I said, thanks, Casey, for hopping on. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you, man.